All right, guys. So this is Pat from the Frog Depot. Another Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, here to chat with you guys, answer any questions that you might have. Or I might have to plug this computer in because it's running a bit low. Looks like the streaming is taking a lot of power. So I apologize about that. But so let's go over here and plug this in. Should have planned this a little bit better, shouldn't I have? So sorry for all the boxes behind here packing up all Christmas stuff. Anyways, okay, now we should be good to go. That really drained the battery really quick. So hope everybody is doing good tonight. I hope the chat is working. If so, please type any questions that you might have over there that I can help you with, and we'll answer anything from the page as well, the Facebook page that is. So. A couple things I wanted to touch upon tonight. Number one is getting new frogs, and what to do, where to go, and your research. And we've had a lot of people. Yeah, I want to say a lot of people. We've had three instances over the past couple weeks, and a few of which didn't even buy frogs from us. But basically, people aren't researching. They're really not. Hold on a minute. We're getting some kind of error here. So hopefully you're still seeing this. Okay. So hopefully we're good now. Sorry about the move again. So um, buying new stuff. I mean, guys, use common sense. Really. And I'm not trying to be rude, but when you're buying animals, do your research on them. Figure out what the basic care is, and really kind of keep in mind that these animals, when you're getting them, how old are they? Are they babies? Are they juveniles? Are they subadults? Are they adults? That's going to make the care a little bit different, and how you're going to do it at home. For instance, I'm going to use a good example. I'm not going to use any names, because it's not really what I'm here after. I'm not here to bash anybody or anything like that. So if you're buying small tree frogs, let's say they're eating quarter-inch crickets, 10-day-old crickets, whatever. They're small tree frogs. You get the idea. You're not going to go and you're not going to put them in a 30 or 40-gallon aquarium. That's going to be really, really tough for these frogs to maintain the proper heat, maintain the proper humidity, and humidity is key with small tree frogs. They can just dry out so quickly. So to put them in a much larger space where you can't control these things, it's very difficult because then you have to either use a bigger water source, or you're misting a lot more, or maybe you have to use a bigger heat source depending on the species that you're working on getting or setting up for. And more heat is going to require drying out quicker. And you see where the loop's going here, guys. So when you're getting these animals, whether it be a baby Pac-Man, a baby tree frog, keep them in something smaller. I have a whole bunch of smaller things down there. A lot of us breeders like to keep the I think it's a 970.75 inch deli cups, 128 ounces. They're pretty big, and you can basically maintain your humidity in there. And basically, it's the kiss method, guys. Keep it simple, stupid. And I'm not calling anybody stupid. I know we live in that age. Was not doing that, but it's just a saying, and it really, really works with these frogs. And that's basically damp paper towel, damp sphagnum moss, whatever the species is. Again, this is going to change, but the moral of the story is don't take your quarter size Pac-Man frog, put him in a big 10-gallon planted aquarium with a water feature and all this stuff, and then wonder why he's not eating. Um, because it's going to take a little bit of time. B, you better make sure that your heat's right in that planted aquarium, and C, these are ambush predators. So they're going to wait for the food to come right in front of them. So unless you're tongue feeding them and you're pulling those frogs out, it's going to be hard for that little baby Pac-Man to eat. So, uh, it, again, common sense, guys. It's really, really need to use it with tree frogs. Amphibians are the most unforgiving part of the reptile hobby. They are extremely difficult at some times, um, and they like to just breed and then sometimes die. It's really, I hate to say it, but if you're not spot on with what you're doing, then it can end up passing away with you. And the breeders lose them too. This is difficult, some of these species to keep, guys. And another thing, take advice. Don't sit there and say I know everything and this animal died. It's all the breeder's fault. It's all the buyer's or the purchaser wherever you got it from. It's their fault. Maybe it's not the breeder. Maybe it's a pet store or wherever. And I'm not saying they don't do no wrong. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is ask them for advice and don't just be rude. Take the advice. It's probably good advice. It's how the frog was being kept. And it should be, if you're getting it from somebody who's reputable, breeds these frogs, obviously if they're breeding them, then they're keeping them alive and doing very well with them. So, don't be thick headed. Think you know everything. Nobody knows everything. I don't know everything. I message other breeders all the time. I'm very far from knowing everything. But what makes a good keeper and a good breeder is being able to realize that and going ahead and asking for advice and asking for information. So, get off my high horse, my rant there, because we get lots of questions, and most of you are excellent, excellent about contacting me and saying, "Hey, can we troubleshoot this? Something's not going on here." But we do get the pig-headed individuals to which they don't want to listen to us, and then it ends up being all our faults. And you know, if there's a problem, just let us know, and then we'll help you with it. Um, so that's my rant, on baby frogs in general. Let me pop over here and see if there's anything. Didn't get much response today about the question and answer session. In fact, I don't even think we have any questions. And if you guys aren't enjoying this and you don't want it to keep happening, then it's okay. I don't have to do it, and I'll do it for you guys. So as long as everybody's enjoying it and watching it and chiming in, but if you got no questions, it makes for a really short show for me, and that's absolutely fine. If nobody has any questions, then we'll just stay tuned until next Monday night. So there's no questions on Facebook page. I really don't have any other topics. That's hot news this week, but kind of what's going on for us. Tadpole wise, obviously Pac-Man tadpoles. We got Spinosa tadpoles. Yellow belly toad tadpoles, pretty excited about. And then also have a some spawns from blueback reed frogs and starry night reed frogs. So we have some cool stuff going on down there, and still trying to do some other breedings throughout the week here. But it's been an abnormally warm and then cold season here. Not much rain, not much snow up here in Pennsylvania. It was 63 yesterday. Today it was 37. Somebody can explain it to me. That's not in the Weather Channel because I don't get it. But anyways, okay, Herman. Herman has a question here. So think of starting with a 5 gallon, but worried about heat. I need a little bit more information. For Pac-Man, they're very good, awesome, thank you. So the heat, what I would do, 5 gallons really good if you're going to go out and get a baby or something that's like half dollar size. I would do something. They actually make 5 gallon sized heat pads, and a lot of these heat pads now from I believe it's Zoomed makes them with the thermostat kind of in them, and there's a couple other companies. You'd have to research the company wide, but if it doesn't, you'll need a thermostat on it because you don't want it to go above 78, 80 degrees. But you can also play around with the substrate. You don't want too much substrate in there. For Pac-Man, I recommend Eco Earth, and you can also kind of make that bioactive with some springtails and some isopods as well. They'll enjoy that. But yeah, for a 5 gallon Herman, I would definitely go with heat pad. I would not do any kind of basking light with frogs for the majority of frogs. Now there is exceptions like Phylomedusa species, but for the majority of frogs, that's going to dry them out very quickly. So unless you have a misting system or you're misting all the time or some other situations like that, I would not go with a heat bulb or basking bulb of any type. But for a Pac-Man, a heat pad would be totally cool. I hope that answers your question. We actually use heated reptile racks, and there's FlexWatt heat tape underneath too. So FlexWatt is also appropriate. But honestly, for if you're only having one Pac-Man and one tank, I think it's kind of overkill, a little bit of a waste to go out and buy a foot of that and a thermostat. You might as well just buy the 5 gallon already made. Would you put it on the bottom or side? Excellent question. I would put it on the bottom. Since these guys are going to kind of burrow in a little bit, you're going to want to give them like an inch, 2 inches of the Eco Earth, whatever substrate you're using. I wouldn't go too deep if you're getting a baby because you'll never see them. They'll just go right down, and you'll see little specks of color by whichever animal you get. But the side, I kind of don't ever put any heat on the side unless it's like a tree frog species or some of the geckos to which I used to do the arboreal geckos I would do on the side. But that's it for frogs as far as the side. So pretty much always on the bottom. Excellent question. It really is. Anybody else? Any other questions? Anything at all that I can help you with? Try and think. So we did a cool video today. I did a feeding video with you can check that out on our YouTube channel. Basically, it's just me going around and feeding a whole bunch of really cool frogs. So I'm sorry for the people to which might have been offended by the frozen rodents that we fed and the frozen rodent picture I put up on Facebook. But I promise you, they came from a company that humanely euthanizes them. We do not do any live feeding. You're welcome, Herman. Not a problem. Thanks for being here. If you need any other questions, just let me know. Okay, so JC Metallica 48 message is, what do you do with the thawed mice left over from feeding? To be honest with you, I don't really have any extras. We got a couple animals that will eat multiple mice. So, I'd be lying if I sat here and said I counted all those mice out in the size because I don't. There's just way too many. But we have a few different racks that if we have overflow of a few, we'll go to the another rack and feed even if it's not their day. And I also have a very small collection of ball pythons to which I don't really show or tell anybody, but I probably got a dozen or so ball pythons that I really enjoy that get to take advantage of anything that's left over because they're always willing to eat something if there's one or two or three left over. So mice never go bad here. I mean, I'm not a big believer in throwing them back in the freezer after they've been thawed. So you know, what's the cost of a frozen rodent? 50 cents to $1. We buy them in bulk, so we get them a little cheaper than that in the most part. But I'd rather not risk warming it up, refreezing it, and then giving it back to my animal in the possibility that there might be some kind of bacteria or something there. So for me, I just throw them away if there happens to be extras. But honestly, there's always mouths here that want to eat. With a Pac-Man collection of over 100 adults, it's not a problem feeding. But great question. Along the lines of feeding, that is also our staple for breeders. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh my God, that's horrible." It's just that's crazy. Keep in mind that I breed these animals. They are not power fed. They are fed every 7 to 10 days. They are bred at the appropriate maturity and age. And these animals are a little bit different. They're not, I love them all. They're all my pets, but they are here and they do breed and they expend a lot more energy doing that, producing the eggs, going for reproduction, the whole cycles than a regular animal that's there to enjoy for a pet. So yes, rodents do have a pretty high protein and also calcium because there's in the bones and a lot of other things too. So you can make the argument that feeding rodents is just it's a horrible diet, but the reality is all the breeders do it. We have no issues with the animals. They don't die an early death. They have no issues at all. So in fact, they need that kind of sustenance to basically keep going with the breeding programs. Now, some animals, once they're off the breeding programs, they'll get a different, different diet. We go through probably 13 to 15,000 crickets a week, depending on, you know, what the workload is here and what the babies are. So you have crickets on hand, we have dubia roaches on hand. Spring and summertime, I like to have night crawlers on hand. Um, so there's other stuff that we could feed them to help to kind of vary those diets that aren't in the animals that aren't in the breeding program anymore. JC Metallica says you should show the adults on your page. Not enough adult pictures to see comparing this hobby. When looking for your frogs, adult is deciding a factor for me and others to what we add. I guess you could take that statement. I agree with you. I guess you could take that one of two ways. I'm not sure if you mean going ahead and showing a pairing for animals that produce like this animal, like say you're going to buy an albino and you want to see the pair of animals that produce that albino, and that gets a little tough because we have a lot of different spawns going on at the same time. But if you're talking about just putting like the video today, I don't know if you got to check it out yet or not, but in some of them it takes a long time to edit that stuff, guys. So I didn't do it for every single one, but in some of them I went ahead and put the morph names in, when they're feeding, feeding an emerald or whatever it is, and it kind of has it there. And I agree with you. That's something I really want to sit down and do pictures of, hey, this is an emerald, this is a 4-spot emerald, this is a strawberry. I think I would create World War IV because God knows we're in World War III now, right, guys? Um, Sorry, I don't mean to get political. Just cracking a joke. Um, there's a lot of arguments over this is a strawberry, this is a strawberry pineapple, this is an apricot, this is a super apricot. I hear some stuff people ask me that I have never even seen the morph, and I don't even know if it exists or, um, that kind of thing. Um, awesome, thanks for watching. I really do. So he did clarify just the morph, like the end game. I think that's a great idea. I have had a bunch of people kind of ask me about doing gallery, so maybe maybe after tax time here, because we're getting the heat of the season here another month, I'll get to sit down and really do that and take some good pictures. And if you guys follow me, if you're watching this right now, you can see I'm not very high tech, so I don't have crazy cameras. I use my phone for all the videos that we do because I'm just down there and I'm working with it. I think it's really cool. I think you guys would like to see it. So I could do my best to take some really good pictures for you guys to see and label them of the different morphs. I'm pretty sure we have every single morph there is on the planet, and probably a few more that are hidden down there. So it might be a good idea to do that. I agree with you. Uh, Anybody else have any other questions? Give it a few more minutes while I ramble and talk about other stuff. We are starting to focus a little bit more on other species other than Pac-Man. We will always do Pac-Man. We always have those guys in stock, but we're starting to really, I am starting to really focus on tree frogs. I find them a little bit more difficult, and I really enjoy the challenge. And we've had some decent luck with them. So hopefully that keeps rolling on through here, because I really do like working with them. We had a nice little spawn of whites, Australian blue whites, and there were some snowflakes in there that came out a few weeks ago, and they literally sold out in 24 hours on our wholesale list. So it was really cool to see you guys really wanted them. And we do have a wholesale list. If you'd like to be on, if you're not already on it, the list goes out at least once a week, sometimes multiple times a week. I do need your email. So you have to email us, send us your email either through the Facebook page or through here, and I could get you added, and make sure you're on there. All right. Well, nobody has any other questions. I think we'll end it a little early tonight at just under 20 minutes, but that's okay. Again, if you guys like doing this, you love to see it, support the channel, send it around, share the links when we put it up there. Let's get more people involved. I think it would be a really cool thing to do every single week, and that's what I've been trying to do. So everybody could come in and ask whatever questions you want. I will never tell you that I know absolutely everything, so I'm sure questions will come that I'm going to have to defer and come back to the next week, but I will help everybody that I absolutely can. Look up. I'm trying to look up and read at the same time, so sorry. So again, I hope everything is going well for you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. I'll see you next week. Take care.